Hello and welcome to Ode to Games. I'm Kevin Valine, joined alongside Logan Plant. How you doing, Logan?
What's up, Kevin? I'm doing pretty good.
Nothing much. How you doing, Zach? Zach Ross is also here. How you doing?
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing okay. So we have a new PS5 exclusive that just came out.
Whoa.
One of us has a PS5. That would be Logan. What are your thoughts on Destruction All-Stars, the game that just dropped? They pushed this thing back from the launch of the console, and it's free for PS Plus subscribers.
Yeah, so it's free for a couple months on PS Plus. It was originally going to be a $70 launch title, which
Yeah.
is, I think that's my main takeaway, is that I can't believe they were going to sell this thing for $70. But it is basically a demolition derby racing game where you start out outside of a car and there's 16 people there, and you run and you jump into the arena, and it's a race to get in a car first, and then once you're in a car you try to smash into other cars, and you do that by driving around, and then you can flick the right stick forward to do this big burst forward, and if you make contact with someone you get points, or you can flick the right stick side to side to do side swipes, and then there's a cooldown for the charge forward and a cooldown for the side swipes as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot else to it. So if your car explodes, you just fall out of it and you get knocked out, and it takes a few seconds to respawn back in, and you get
Okay.
more points for knockouts than just causing damage to other people's cars.
Okay.
And then you can just run around the arena and hop into another car and go smash into some other cars. There is every character has a special that can build up. Some are wildly overpowered compared to others. Which is just,
Gotta have
it's
it.
insane. Some characters are so OP. There's one that just gets this like chainsaw on the front of their car that just kills people instantly upon hitting them. So it's pretty OP compared to some of the other specials. And the driving is pretty fun. Like, it is enjoyable to drive around. I think one of the issues is that matches are too long. I think they're 4 or 5 minutes, and that's just a little bit too long. I look at something like Splatoon, which is 3 minute matches, and that feels like the perfect length. And I'm like, man, I feel like this thing should be wrapping up. And then I look at the clock and there's like a minute 45 left. I'm like, this thing should be over by now, which isn't a good sign that in my
No.
second game I was already feeling dragging on too long. But then there's the on foot version too, where you can get out of the car and you can hijack other people's cars, and you can choose to either take the car from them and drive it around, or explode it. And it is basically just, do you want to mash square, or do you want to mash circle? And it's just like, can you mash square faster than they can wiggle the left stick to whack you off the car? And it's just button mashing, and that's not very entertaining. Yeah, it's just pretty shallow. There's only 3 maps in the game, and they all look almost identical visually. Like, they all have the same kind of arena style, just the layout is different. So it's just a pretty shallow experience. And I do think there's fun to be had, especially if you're playing in a group of people. Like, I think if we all got on and we're chatting, we could have a good time with it for like 30 minutes maybe. But just sitting there playing it alone, I wasn't having too good of a time. And then just hearing random people talk through my controller, because every DualSense controller is equipped with a microphone, and
Oh.
their sound is coming through your controller speaker. And it's this guy just like laughing maniacally whenever he crashes into a car. And it's like, I don't really need that in my living room.
Yeah.
So that was kind of weird. I'm sure you can turn that off somewhere.
Hopefully.
And then this I actually didn't experience myself, but there's a single player challenge mode, and there's 3 different kind of modes within that single player, and you only get one to start, and then you have to pay for the other 2 with in-game currency, which you can buy through
Ugh.
microtransactions. And I think that's a change they made probably when this thing moved to PS Plus. But it's like, for a game that already has so little content, I wasn't too happy to see that.
Yeah,
So I'd say
that's
I'm
pretty
pretty
gross.
disappointed. The highlights, I would say, the driving is fun, the game looks and runs great, and the DualSense haptic feedback is really cool in this game. Braking, it takes a lot to brake and reverse with the left trigger, and you can feel it in that trigger. And then when your car is on the verge of destructing, when it's breaking down, you can feel in your controller it's rumbling at the same place in the car where you have the most damage. So like, if the hood has the most damage, it's like the front of the controller that's rumbling
Oh.
the most. If like you have a tire out, you feel it in the left handle. and it like jitters. And when your car is really hurting, the right trigger like really vibrates the entire time when you're driving around. Like this thing is hanging on by a thread. So that's really cool. Sometimes the haptics aren't there though, like which is really weird. Like sometimes it when you reverse, it's like a lot of tension, but sometimes it's just like hitting it as if the console is off and you're just messing with the controller. Like there's absolutely no tension there. So I think that's kind of a mistake, which is really weird. But yeah, I'm glad that no one bought this thing for $70.
Yeah.
Not only is really how I feel.
Not only was this thing going to be $70, this thing was going to launch a couple months ago. I'm sure that they used some of the time to clean some things up. Like, man, like if this thing came out in November for $70, yikes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think what I said in a message to you guys is that like there is enjoyment there, but I would rather play Splatoon, Smash Bros. I would rather play Fall Guys. I would rather play like there's so many other ways to get your just like mindless online multiplayer fix that this one would be so far down the list that I'm not sure I'll ever play it again.
And now that we've secured copies for PS5, you're going to have to play it when we eventually do get PS5.
We all got to experience this.
It's only 28 gigabytes, so it's a pretty quick install, which also tells you not a ton in there. But yeah, it's only 28 gigs, so it's kind of easy to just throw on your console if you want it there. It is free. Like, you might like it more than I do, so I'm not saying it's not worth trying out. But it didn't stick the landing for me personally.
And I feel like that seems to be the consensus for a lot of people, is that just that there's not a lot there. You can get a little bit of enjoyment, but after a few hours, there's probably not much, if anything, to go back to.
Yeah.
Which
I think there's potential for this type of gameplay. I think that the concept of a demolition derby game where you can also play on foot is a really cool concept, but the on foot gameplay is not fun. It is just a race to get into the next car you find. I feel like if there were ways to make more meaningful of an impact or score points on foot rather than just hijacking the cars, which, like I said, is just button mashing and not very enjoyable, I think it could be a lot cooler. So maybe this is a game that will grow over time and a year from now look way different and be way more fun. I could see that, and maybe I'll return to it if that's the case. But right now, I don't really think it's worth your time.
I think a lot of games like this can have rocky launches, but then turn out to be pretty good. You could be Star Wars Battlefront 2, one of the most hated games ever, and after a couple of years, you turn things around. So, some games do, some games don't, but I guess for this, there's a chance.
Yeah, for sure.
How's Hitman?
Hitman's great.
Yeah?
Yeah, Hitman 3 it's so phenomenal. We didn't get to it until the very end of last week. Make sure we talked about it more this week. It is such a good game, and like I said on the last week's show, coming from a guy who does not like stealth games, and I think that's just a testament to its quality. Not gonna lie though, I'm very, very stuck on the third level. I have not finished it yet. It is really hard for me because in this one in the first two missions, your targets are marked on the map at all times, and they're not always looking out for you. For story reasons that I don't understand, there's these basically FBI agents hunting Agent 47. And so if they see you, they start to get suspicious, and then they start killing you, like if you're in their line of sight for too long. And there's 5 agents that you have to track down and kill in the third level, and they're not marked on your map. So it ramped up the difficulty pretty significantly from one target who doesn't know you're there to kill them to 5 targets who you can't see on the map who all know that you're there to kill them. Yeah. So it's brutal. I've gotten 2, and that's where I save scummed my way all the way to get 2 of the kills, and that's kind of where I'm at this point. I disguised as a drug dealer, and one of them took interest to me. I took him into the bathroom and I drowned him, and then the other one I shoved off a rafter, which is my preferred method of eliminating my targets, as I said last week. Yep. So because I was so stuck on this third one, I went back to the first one and decided to do one of the other story missions, just killing people in a different way, doing something completely different, and it's entirely different. I didn't do any of the same things I did the first time, which is just super cool, and it was a lot easier to get into, which I find really nice because the first time you do it, you have to skydive in, and you're in your flight suit, and you have to sneak around the outside of the building, climbing through these windows and stuff before you can subdue someone to get a suit. And the second time you go back in, you just drop into the main lobby of the hotel with your suit on. So it skips that whole intro part, which is really nice. But yeah, it was a completely different mission. The targets died in totally different ways, and it all just played out entirely differently. And it's really, really cool that the main story is catered that way. And then there's like 40 other ways to accomplish the mission in this achievement board. So it's really an endless well of content. If you really love Hitman, you could spend so much time in every one of these levels, which I just think is amazing.
Do you think that's something that you're going to do? I mean, you've already gone back here, but you know, more than maybe like 2 or 3 times, would you see yourself going back and trying all these different things?
At this point, no, because my physical copy of 1 and 2 arrived. I don't know if I talked about this on the show. I bought 2 cheap copies of Hitman 1 and 2 so I could unlock digitally in Hitman 3 instead of paying the $99 it would take to unlock it through the access passes. So I think that I'm more likely to go back and play Hitman 2 first after beating Hitman 3 instead of going and spending a ton of time in these levels. And just with how many games I want to play this year right now, I don't know if that's something I'll do right now, but for like hardcore fans of a series, like there's so much for them to do. And I think that's amazing. And the second level, the murder mystery one I talked about, I can see myself doing that one a bunch of different ways because the setting of that one is just, it really clicks with me. So I think probably with my favorite levels, I'll really play them to death. And then the other ones, I'll just do like the main mission modes. But it's really cool. I really appreciate games you can beat in 8 to 10 hours and then sink 102. I love games like that.
Yeah. You see yourself getting through that last level by next week?
Oh, probably. I think I might have to.
A big probably.
I might have to look up a guide on this one. I'm so bad at it. I'm just really bad at stealth. And I think I was able to get through the first 2 because if you're terrible at stealth, they'll be like, oh, what's going on? And then they'll forget about you. But in the third one, they do not stop hunting you. I hid in this bathroom for like 20 minutes, and then a new agent would run in. They'd open the door, and I would just stab them. And then I'd close the stall door. And I had this pile of like 30 bodies in front of me, and I'm like, there's no way. And then eventually too many guys rushed in, and I was killed. But it can all fall apart really quickly in this level just because of the setup.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm still a little bit surprised that you've gotten into it as much as you did, considering that you're not into stealth games. But that probably speaks to how good Hitman 3 is.
Yeah, it's just super cool and really creative. And I think that I'm excited to come back to these levels after playing 1 and 2 and getting better just at the systems. Because I think once I'm better, I'll feel like I can experiment more and be more creative. Right now, I'm kind of sticking to the book of what the story missions want me to do. But I'm excited to see eventually how I can just manipulate these sandboxes to get completely wacky results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Zach, when you get in this game?
I think Zach needs to play
this.
When
you playing
well, I'll probably be getting the first 2 fairly soon because Logan's going to donate his copies after he accesses the levels in Hitman 3 through his copies, which is a weird system. I don't really understand,
like
but I'm not going to complain.
I'm not entirely sure it's going to work yet.
If it doesn't work, then whatever. But,
yeah,
I love stealth games, so I'm sure that I'd absolutely love the Hitman series. From what I've seen of it, it looks pretty phenomenal, especially the sandboxiness of having that many options. And Logan's favorite level of the Knives Out theme murder mystery party sounds incredible to me. And I know a couple levels in the previous entries that have also stood out. So yeah, I've been interested in the series. I just really haven't had the chance to pick it up, or I've had other stuff on my plate, but definitely on my radar.
You gonna get that with your PS5?
No.
Yes,
I don't know.
It looks great, by the way. It's a very gorgeous game. And it runs phenomenally on PS5 also. Like it feels like a next gen game when I'm playing it, even though it did launch cross gen.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Do we want to hop into the news here?
Let's move on to the news. Google Stadia is in the news, and not for a great reason, guys. They're shutting down all of their first party studios, their internal development studios, and redirecting their focus to getting more third party games on the platform. So they're not shutting down Stadia. They will just no longer develop exclusive games for the platform from their own studios. To me, this kind of feels like the first step towards the death of Stadia. I don't know if you guys feel that way, Kevin.
Well, it's like,
I wouldn't be surprised.
If just think about it. Like, if they don't have any exclusives that people are going to be drawn to their platform for, I feel like the user base that's going to want to use Stadia will be incredibly small. And then if you have xCloud, what Microsoft's doing, I'm sure Sony's going to be working on things as well. If they have their own streaming services that also have their own exclusive games, how in the world is Stadia going to survive? There's just no way. If it's all third-party stuff.
I think right now they are benefiting because they were one of the only main ones, because xCloud was still kind of in its beta phase, not widely available to everybody. But once that picks up steam, there will be no reason to play on Stadia. But like for now, like people were playing Cyberpunk on Stadia and it was working. Like that was where people were getting it to work when it was not playable on consoles. So right now, I think they'll stick around for a bit for things like that. But a few years down the road,
I don't think they're going to last. And it's just a weird decision because like we're talking about here, we're waiting a little bit for Xbox and Sony to come out with their own competitors. But I felt like that gave Google a chance to work with these studios. It's been a couple of years, and you need more years in the pipeline for these games to come out. By the time that Xbox and Sony have the rival to Stadia, maybe they would have some of these in-house studios pumping out games. I feel like they're pulling out way too early on this.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a weird decision to shut it down before they even really released anything. Like,
did they have anything?
I don't think so, but I'm not 100% sure.
Like, I feel like I'm just remembering the Amazon game flop that came out recently. I can't remember if Google had one exclusive when the thing launched, but that wasn't an in-house thing. I don't know if they've really released anything. Which, if, in 2 to 3 years, that's really not enough time for most of these games to be coming out anyway, so that wouldn't be all that surprising if they didn't have anything. Yeah, I just don't know how long Stadia is going to last, really. Cyberpunk was the only reason people cared about it recently. Like, if Cyberpunk wasn't a failure on console and PCs, if you weren't super high-end, there would have been no reason whatsoever to even talk about Stadia. Who knows if that's going to happen again?
Yeah, I still think mainstream cloud gaming is a long ways out, and I thought Stadia, maybe they still will be. Maybe that they'll be redirecting their focus towards making it more stable in addition to getting third-party games on the platform. Yeah. But I think that in order to test if something is stable, you have to have a high volume of people using your platform. And if there's no draw to it, that's not going to happen. So say they're like, oh, we've got it working. Stadia works great. Yeah, because you only have 250 people in the country using it at one time. Like, I feel like they need that player base to really be able to test the bandwidth of this thing, and I don't see them getting it. So I'm not sure how much they're going to be able to improve it when they don't have that sample size there.
Yeah, it'd just be interesting to see where Google Stadia is in maybe 3 to 5 years' time, if they're going to be around at all. Google abandons stuff all the time, so, who knows?
Yeah.
Google Glasses, those used to be a thing.
Google Glass. They move on from a lot of things, and I feel like Stadia could easily be another one of those.
I remember, Kevin, actually, you said that was your worry when they announced this thing, in 2018? I think 19. Whenever they announced this thing, I remember you said you were worried because of how quickly Google drops things, and if it wasn't successful off the bat, would they just kill it? And
feel like
we're one on that one.
One step in the
trending
coffin
in that direction.
Yeah, I don't see how you can't see this move as being at least some sort of step into that direction.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wonder if there's anyone out there where Stadia is like their prime gaming platform. Like, is that the number one place that you play? I don't know.
There's got to be the creator of Stadia.
One guy. I can't see that being more than like 100 people at most.
Yeah.
Which is not a way to survive.
Let us know. Let us know if your prime gaming platform is Google Stadia.
I probably won't believe you, but
probably not. Speaking of Prime, though, Sonic Prime is a new television show coming to Netflix.
What a segue.
In 2022. This was leaked, and unlike Nintendo, Sega did not cancel it because it leaked. That was something else in the news this week.
That's crazy, yeah.
But Sonic Prime is going to be a new show, and presumably it's going to feature the new voice of Sonic in the games and the show. That's how they do it. That's how they've been doing it lately. Will it be Ben Schwartz? Unknown. But it's going to be a new TV show. We don't know very much about it right now. We just have a logo drop and know that it's coming to Netflix. But I'm excited.
We know
about
that
this.
it's animated, right? No
Yes,
live
it is
action.
3D animated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited about this. I think that this is a really cool thing to add to kind of the reboot this is turning into of Sonic for this 30th anniversary this year. We hopefully will hear more about this show this year, because I heard 2022 and I was like, oh, that's a long ways off. And I'm like, oh, that's next year.
Right,
It's
yeah.
2021. It's going to be a 24 episode run to start out. And it's for kids, families, and longtime fans, is what it says. And I think that's kind of what Boom was. It seemed like there were a lot of references to classic Sonic stuff that only fans would get, while still being mostly a kid-friendly show. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this turns out to be.
Yeah, and usually they do a pretty good job with Sonic TV shows. You've got Boom, which people really like. What was it? Some of the earlier ones in the 2000s was Sonic X.
Mm-hmm.
I remember liking
Sonic
that.
X.
I enjoyed Sonic
Yeah,
X.
I remember watching some episodes and liking that. I feel like they have a pretty good track record with TV shows. Not as much on the game side with the 3D Sonic, but
Yeah,
at least
I'm
with the
excited
TV
for the
shows.
Sonic Prime game.
Oh man, is that going to
And
be
it's
the next
sounding
game?
like, I think I saw somewhere that this show is going to take place in Sonic Team's Sonic universe. So you might be like, well, doesn't everything? No, Boom is a separate universe, and then the comic series is currently a separate universe as well. Like, these are kind of separate things. And then the Archieverse is unfortunately dead, which was my all-time favorite iteration of Sonic the Hedgehog.
You could say that this is the Prime timeline. Am I right?
Good one.
Nice, Zach.
Thank
Good
you.
one.
Glad you're here.
So
Okay.
I wonder if the game is going to be called Sonic Prime. Because that would make sense.
Probably. Or Sonic Prime the game.
Yeah, because usually Sonic X there was never a game for. I guess that Boom was the first time they had a show directly tied in with a game. But I wouldn't...
Sonic Prime Rise of Lyric.
If it is true that it is taking place in the Sonic Team universe, then it would make total sense for it to be a game called Sonic Prime that comes out this year in the fall, with the show coming out spring of next year.
Right,
That would make so much sense.
They could tie that together pretty easily. And I'm sure it would be even stronger if, unlike Boom's case, where one of the games is complete garbage, as long as this game is passable, I think that it probably could gain a lot of traction, both for the game and for the TV show, with a wide release on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm getting excited to see what's next for Sonic. I read this. This is totally uncredible. It's just a leak. Who knows if it's real?
Is it
But
from
they
the
said that
Monkey
they're-
Ball announcer?
Yeah, it is not. It was not from him. But it said that there was a leak that there was going to be a new show and a new game this year, and the game was going to feature Sonic and Amy as the two playable characters.
Really?
And it was going to be closer to Lost World, in that it's no longer a boost game, so like you can still build speed, but it's not about boosting. So we'll see if that is the direction they go. That's just a rumor right now, but I'm itching to see what's coming for Sonic this year. It has been a long time since we've had a new game in the works to both dread and look forward to at the same time.
Yeah. And at some point, we'll
Excited for that,
all have to get together and play whatever this new game turns out to be.
Yep, absolutely. Looking forward to it. Another game we all played, Judgment, is coming to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S on April 23rd for $40. And there's no PC launch and no upgrade plan for PS4. Also, the game looks considerably different.
Yeah,
Some side-by-side shots. It looks a lot different.
And I don't think it looks better. Maybe it's more of like a subjective thing, but usually with these upgrades to PS5, you should be able to tell like this looks better, even if some of the artistic choices change a little bit. Yeah, it has something to do with the lighting, where some of the shots just look like weird and kind of washed out and not as stylized. Like it's just bright. There was a couple of screenshots. So that was a little bit worrying. The no PC release is very weird to me.
How many games are on PC at this point?
They're all coming, I believe.
Okay.
Like I don't think they're. I'm not sure if they're all out yet. I think 6 may be the one that they're still waiting on. But I think the remaster collection just came out there, and they've been moving to have the whole series come out on PC and on Xbox. So it's just kind of weird to me that they would have a PS5 and Xbox Series release, but not release it on PCs. They've been really good about putting things out on PC. Like a Dragon came out same day on PC. So that decision's kind of weird. The no upgrade plan, always disappointing when that happens. The game, it's been out for a while, so I guess it's a different situation than some of these games that come out and also have a PS5 like it comes out after the PS5 comes out. That's a little bit of a different scenario than this. At the very least, all the DLC is going to be included there. Good to see Judgment back in the news, at least.
And $40.
And $40, yeah. If it was $60, that would blow. But yeah, with the
what if it was 70?
Oh, God. Yeah.
How many copies would that sell?
Not
especially
many.
when you could just buy it on PS4 and pop it into your PS4.
Yeah, but seeing some of those screenshots though does make me a little bit worried, and I'm not sure if I'd even want to pick up the PS5 version. Like even if it went on sale, I don't have a PS5 now. I'm sure it'll go on sale at some point. With some of those, I'd have to wait and see. It doesn't look that good. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll look better in motion is another thing too.
Yeah, run more
like Halo.
stably and everything like that. Like Halo?
Yeah. Like when you paused and took screenshots.
Oh, and it looks like garbage.
Halo,
yeah,
exactly.
maybe it is that.
But in motion,
True.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But good to see Judgment back in the news. Hopefully, sequel sometime soon.
I think this points to a sequel. If it's getting a next gen launch, like I don't know. To me, that says they're not done with Judgment.
I see Judgment 2 being the next in the lineup.
I hope so. I love Judgment. Yeah. So yeah.
As do I.
But yeah, if you're on
that good.
If you're on Xbox though, this is the first chance to pick this up. So if you have discovered the Yakuza series on Xbox, pick this thing up. It's good.
Yeah, it's very, very good. Here's a game I'm looking forward to picking up for the first time. Mass Effect Legendary Edition has a release date. It's coming out on May 14th. Ton of Mass Effect stuff.
Yeah, they've been dropping a lot.
A lot of people got their hands on it, and the impressions so far have been pretty positive, which is good because I know they just need to polish up these games and push them out, but BioWare has not been on the best streak lately. So I'm excited to pick these up for the first time. But May 14th, sticking to their spring release date. And a reminder, this is coming to last gen PS4,
right.
Xbox One consoles, and will be playable on the current gen consoles. And comes with all DLC. They've expanded the character creation suite, which is a really cool addition. And I think they tweaked a few other things just throughout the game that some people were noticing. Like there's some things that are slightly different. So it's not quite a remake from what I've seen, but it looks like a little more than just a remaster. So yeah, I think that's really exciting. I think a lot of people are going to discover these games for the first time.
Yeah, I was seeing some side-by-sides, and it looks good. Like,
yeah,
maybe not complete PS5, Xbox Series X, but I think it still looks fantastic. Did you guys also see that there's just one piece of DLC that is, like, corrupted and they can never get it back?
Yeah, they lost the script or something like that, which sucks really hard because just having that one specific missing piece of DLC is really going to weigh on me when I play this trilogy.
It's just weird. Like, it's just weird that stuff happens, that it can just be lost.
How do you lose
to
a source
time.
code?
It just gets corrupted, I guess.
Especially in the 360 PS3 era. Like,
I know, it
so
doesn't
many
seem like that
games are
long
lost
ago.
to time from prior to that because they just didn't care and they just didn't save them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's surprising to see something from a decade ago that isn't around anymore.
Yeah, really weird.
It's really weird.
Yeah, with some of this news, I'm just happy that they seem to be addressing the fact that with some of these last couple of games, they bit off way more than they could chew, and the game suffered for it, Anthem and Andromeda. So, like, talking about how there's not going to be a specific next-gen version, it'll just be running in backwards compatibility with the PS4 and Xbox One versions, and the fact that they're not bringing the multiplayer from 3, which, could be disappointing to some people, but I feel like with the track record of the last couple of games, I'm kind of glad that they made some of these decisions so that, they're not going way too far off and can't finish it in time. The game comes out broken or they delay it to infinity. I think it sounds, at least with this project, that they've at least learned something from Andromeda and Anthem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's not like the jump from PS4 to 5 was so noticeable that like playing PS4 games necessarily feel old. Like even when games aren't optimized, they don't work on them for PS5 specifically, they still run better and look nicer. So I don't think it matters too much that these are coming out on last gen. Like you were saying, Kev, I think it was a smart move to not rush a next gen product to market, and then they have another bad storyline for their company after a string of bad ones over the last few years.
Yeah, they need something good. I feel like this could be it. I'm excited to check out Mass Effect sometime in the near future.
Yeah,
this will probably
especially
be the way.
Since we know Mass Effect is coming back also in some capacity.
Yeah.
Announced at the Game Awards, so yeah, this could get them a lot of new fans for whenever that eventual project becomes reality in 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Or more.
Zach, you picking this up?
Yeah, I think Mass Effect has always been higher on the list of series that I wish I have dived into at some point. So I mean, I've been waiting for this collection. It's been on everyone's mind for a long time.
Yeah.
So I definitely see myself getting it at some point. Hopefully it's not a limited release and I miss it. Who knows?
Speaking of that, where are you at? It's February, dude. You have to pick this thing up.
When does it leave?
March 31st, but
okay, so March 30th. Mark your calendars.
If you're getting the physical version, the other caveat is while supplies last. So they could just like stop shipping them earlier. You buy it this month, man. Yes. When you go out to pick up Mario 3D World, if you're picking that up physically, then just pick them up at the same time. Do yourself a favor now.
Do it. It's the year of Mario. Go.
It is the year of Mario.
Yeah.
I bought the Castlevania collection.
What a way to start off.
Castlevania 2.
What a way to start off the year of Mario if he doesn't get the collection. I can't play the games.
If I miss the collection, it's no longer the year of Mario.
Don't let it happen. Don't let it happen.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Real quick, this is an aside. It's not on our list of news stories, but there were a couple really exciting previews for me personally this week. Monster Hunter Rise got some new details on IGN this week, and sounds awesome. We won't dive into the nitty-gritty of it, but some exciting stuff there. And then there was an interview with the developer of Biomutant, and that game actually sounds really, really cool.
It looks pretty good, yeah.
And
it does.
Yeah. Basically, like, choosing factions, liberating outposts in the name of the faction that you choose to fight for, but you can change allegiances at any time and go back and reconquer those outposts in the name of the new faction.
Like a morality system, too.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just...
Interesting,
it looks pretty neat. I'm excited for a dense, small, open-world action game like that. Like, it sounds like the map is pretty small, which I think is going to be cool, and... it's been a meme on this show, but the more I see about that game, I actually think it looks really great.
It sounds good. Now, the other caveat with that is that they still didn't show off the game in action there. It was all just spoken and written. So I'm still waiting to see this game, like, having them do like a deep dive into the actual game and seeing it being played before I try to make any conclusions. But at least... just talking about the game and the ideas that they have for it, it sounds compelling.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Anyways, we do have a couple more stories to get to. PlayStation 5 shipped 4.5 million units in 2020, which matches the PlayStation 4's launch in 2013. Some other sales numbers here. The digital sales overtook physical sales on the platform so far in this fiscal year for Sony. The 59%, 53% in the last 2 quarters. So yeah, PlayStation 5, it doesn't feel like it sold as many as PS4. Maybe that's just because more people are trying to get it. Like, I was surprised to hear the numbers were the same, because this thing has just been so difficult to find.
You know, maybe the other thing is that 2 million of those are still in the hands of scalpers.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'd be curious how, at any given time, what percentage of the PS5s in the wild are held by scalpers. I've got to believe it's a quite high number, you know.
Which is really sad.
Yeah, it's really frustrating, and it's why that I'm just not even considering trying to get one for at least the next couple of months, because I've also been hearing over the last week there were some news stories that came out where it was just like, don't expect the situation with these consoles to get much better until summer was what people are saying. So
yeah.
It's sad.
But
they
selling.
go so quick.
Yeah.
They just it's pretty crazy. And I think just today it was like, oh, did you get it at Walmart? Oh, it was up for 5 minutes, then it was down for 30, and then it was back up for 5, and it's just nonstop, which is disappointing, but it's understandable. And it was also confirmed that the PS5 is selling at a loss, which I think we already knew because some of the hardware in there is on like
absolutely.
some high end gaming PCs.
They've always made their money on the games. That's how their business model has always been.
Yeah, and I feel like as the generation goes on, it becomes the parts become cheaper, and eventually you will start to be able to make a profit off the consoles, maybe halfway through the system's life. So that probably helps too.
Yeah. Yeah, so some solid numbers there, matching the PS4. That's good. The PS4 is now well over 100 million units. Yep. We'll see if the PS5 gets there. One console that's for sure going to get there is the Nintendo Switch. My goodness. Nintendo released their Q3 financials for this fiscal year, which ends on March 31st. And the Nintendo Switch console sales have now passed the Nintendo 3DS. Which is crazy to me for so many reasons. There was a 2DS that was $80. $80.
Yeah, and just a bunch of different models that can all converge together for the one 3DS overall sales.
Yeah,
and people buy multiples.
Upgrade? Yeah, absolutely. And
I've bought multiple 3DSs.
Yeah, I've bought 2.
And the Switch has been out for not even 4 years, and it is ripped past the 3DS. My goodness, it has the Nintendo Switch now has 79.87 million units sold, so 80 million essentially. Yeah. Animal Crossing New Horizons has sold 31.18 million copies. That game hasn't even been out a year. That's unbelievable how well that game has sold. Mario Kart 8 is still the best-selling game at 33.41 million, but it's bundled in with most Switches these days, which is just the perfect bundle game. And Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the third best-selling game with 10 million less at 22.85 million.
Still a lot, though.
Which it's the best-selling fighting game of all time. Breath of the Wild, 21 million, which is crazy for like a more hardcore action-adventure game. Like usually it's the Mario Karts, the Smash Bros. That sell crazy. To have a Zelda game sell over 20 million is unreal. Odyssey has 20 million. That's Super Mario Odyssey. And then Pokemon Sword and Shield have 20 million as well, becoming the best-selling Pokemon games since Gold and Silver.
Ooh.
That is what it is.
yeah, when you've got a mainline game on a console that sells as much as the Switch does. Mm.
Yeah.
That'll happen.
Then you have some smaller games seeing great success. Also, I want to run through some of these. 3D All-Stars sold 8.32 million.
It's a lot.
Really, really great numbers. Origami King, over 3 million. Age of Calamity, 2.84 million. It's the best-selling Warriors game of all time. Pikmin 3 Deluxe has about 2 million. It's the best-selling Pikmin of all time. And Mario Kart Live Home Circuit sold over 1 million units. So everything sells on Switch.
And
Absolutely
Ring Fit's almost at 9?
Yeah.
9 million? Which is crazy.
9 million units. The Nintendo Switch Lite has sold 13.53 million. It is closing the gap on the Wii U's 13.56 million.
That's hilarious.
There are almost more Switch Lites in the world than Wii U, which is wild. It's nuts. And it makes me just hope and pray that they make an F-Zero game and put it on the Switch, that they make a Kid Icarus game and put it on Switch, that they return to these historically not that well-selling franchises and just release them on Switch. Pikmin's been a horribly selling franchise his entire life, and now 2 million units, that's enough to warrant a sequel. I think 1 million is kind of the benchmark for games to get sequels. So just throw out these franchises. They will sell. There's so many Nintendo fans and other fans discovering Nintendo franchises that I think they've got to pull on some of these older dead franchises.
Yeah, I feel like with the Switch, there's a lot of people that have either never played Nintendo stuff ever or have come back after a really long hiatus and want to discover some of these series. My worry is just that they get complacent for whatever comes next. You saw what happened with the Wii. I think they're a different company, but it's always in the back of my mind of just like you you get such a runaway success, and you're just like, the next one will be fine. PlayStation did it with the PlayStation 3. We did it with the Wii U. You know, I always just worry about that.
Xbox 360 did it with the Xbox One.
With the Xbox One, yeah. They do it a lot. I'm hoping that won't happen here, because these numbers are crazy.
Yeah, and it's we talked about this before. It's not like the Wii where the numbers were there, but everyone just had Wii Sports and Mario Kart. Everyone who has a Switch is buying games. There's 80 million Switches and 31 million Animal Crossings. That's unbelievable. An unbelievable attach rate for how many systems are out there.
Yeah. Like, and for like Breath of the Wild and Odyssey too. Like, yeah, those numbers are crazy.
Yeah. You have the best-selling Warriors, the best-selling Pikmin, the best-selling fighting game of all time. Animal Crossing and Mario Kart 8 are both in the top 10, I think, selling games of all time at this point. Like, it's unbelievable what the Switch is doing. It's crazy to see. You look at, like, Miles Morales sold 4 million copies. You're like, that's a huge hit. That's a ton of games. And then it's just nothing compared to what is happening on Switch. It's wild to have also exclusives. Like an exclusive that sells 30 million in the span of 10 months.
Yeah, that just doesn't happen for other platforms.
Yeah, it's not. It's the Nintendo hit something special with the Switch, and it's just fun to see the numbers drop every 3 months. It's not like the Wii U era where it's like, well, we had a $400 million operating loss in the year of Luigi.
What a year, baby!
Yeah,
shout out to my boy Luigi.
Yeah, so it's super cool. And I think that's all we got for news this week.
All right. Zach, this is you.
Perfect. Are we doing what we're playing, or are we doing our PlayStation Rewind statistics?
We're doing
Which
both.
comes first? We're doing both.
Why don't we do the year in review for PlayStation first?
Yes. So the year in review, PlayStation recently, it being February, decided to release the statistics for 2020 of everyone's play stats for PlayStation 4 and 5. We got our chance to look over all of our stats, some more ridiculous than others.
Zach, you scare me. Throwing that out there now.
Yeah. My Switch stats weren't great. My PlayStation stats maybe a little too good. But we'll save mine for last since they are the most ridiculous. Going in order, I think the least ridiculous would be Kevin. We'll start with you. Tell us how many games you played, your total hours, both locally, online, days you played, best day, top 3 games, all that good stuff.
Let's do it. So I played for 542 hours, which sounded fine to me until Zach told me his. I played 17 games. Yakuza Like a Dragon was my most played at 64 hours. Persona 5 Royal at 48. That's going back in the memory banks there. And then Final Fantasy VII Remake at 40 hours. I feel like I was on Switch more this year. 90% of my playtime came for single player offline games. 488 hours, just 54 hours on online, which is about right for me. I just play mostly single player.
So what? That's Fall Guys, Minecraft, and Borderlands. That makes up, I think, the entire.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that is true. Yeah. I played VR for 0 hours, so there's that.
Same. Yep.
155 days that I played. My biggest day was Saturday, and let's see. Yeah. Oh, 1 platinum this year. Got 1 plat, almost 300 bronze.
What was it?
Can you look on here? I don't think you can.
No, do you not remember? I would remember my first plat.
What did I platinum this year?
That's a good question. I don't remember you bringing it up.
I'll figure that out later.
Year of 2020 is a year.
I
have a list of every game that Kevin beat.
So there's generally my stats. Solid year, 550 hours. I'll take it.
Pretty garbage year compared to the rest of us.
Yeah,
right,
Logan, I feel like you're going
embarrass him with your stats.
Ascending orders here.
Hey, I played 940 hours.
Okay.
On a PlayStation. I played 31 games in 2020. Monster Hunter World was number 1 at 164 hours. No surprise there. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout was 2 at 95 hours.
That's a lot of time.
I adore that game, as you know. And number 3, any guesses?
Ghost?
Or did I send you guys these?
Yeah, I don't think you sent it to us.
You did.
Ghost.
Did you not? Well, I think we talked about it, but I can't for the life of me remember what your third place game was. It was probably. Oh, tell me.
It is The Last of Us Part 2, which
Ah.
I played for 43
that.
hours. Ghost has got to be right there at like 40
Probably.
hours, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's number 4.
Yeah.
And then final.
You've probably got a few games like cresting that
Final
threshold.
Fantasy VII Remake was like 35 hours or something like that.
Yeah, mine was about 40,
those
so
were all right
probably
there.
around that.
What else did I play? Anyways, my top genre RPG. Yeah, because Monster Hunter World.
Oh yeah, my top genre
what
was
was your
action
top genre?
adventure. Action adventure.
Gotcha.
Yakuza. Probably.
But Yakuza's an RPG. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, considering that my top 2 games
And then Persona.
Is what it
Persona
is.
5 Royal and then Final
Yeah.
Fantasy VII
No,
Remake toes the
action
line.
adventure.
Action adventure,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah, that's weird. I played 770 hours locally, 171 hours online. It says 0 in VR, which is just false. So there's something broken with that statistic because that's just not
Good.
Because we played Groundhog Day last year.
Oh,
And I played a number
yeah.
of other things
We
in
did.
VR, so I don't know why that's like that. Let's see. I played 194 days in 2020. The top day of the week was afternoons on Sunday. Sunday afternoons.
Oh, weird.
Yeah,
Sunday was my least by far.
that's weird.
I don't know why that
I
is.
At least
played
was
a lot of Monster
Tuesday.
Hunter on Sundays. Yeah, so I don't know. And then 267 trophies, 10 gold, 44 silver, 213. It doesn't show my plat. I think this is because that's a PS5 game I got the plat on.
Doesn't
Then it
count.
says, congratulations, in 2020 you entered the future of gaming with PlayStation 5.
We're
They had to
lucky
congratulate
few.
me because they made it so hard to get.
Yeah.
My top
you a diploma.
PS5 game was Sackboy, which I played for 17 hours. I played 33 hours of PS5 games. So that's Sackboy, Spider-Man, and then Astro, and
Just PS5
Pathless.
games, not PS4 on PS5.
yeah,
Okay.
and I got
PS5 version.
110 PS5 trophies, including the one plat.
The one plat,
Those
all
are
right.
my stats.
All right, Zach, blow us
go.
all the way here. Dear God.
All right, get ready to get destroyed in terms of these disgustingly high numbers.
Yeah.
Dude, no shame.
All right, 2020
in the United States.
2020
there
was a rough year for
Yeah.
everybody.
Nothing to
You
do
got-
but sit inside and play games.
Pretty much.
So
Yeah.
I have no shame in my stats for this.
I managed this with a job, so get even more impressed.
What are your
In
hours?
2020, I played 38 games,
Okay.
already high.
Yep, already 20 more than me.
1,980 hours.
One more time. What was that?
1,980 hours. More than both of you combined.
Man, you were so close to 2,000.
Yeah.
20 hours away. Couldn't do it. If I had buckled down and actually sank those last 20 hours into Yakuza 7, I could have done it, but I saved that for January. 1,700 hours locally, 280 hours online, which seems a little weird because my top 3 games are all multiplayer. 267 days played. Mostly Friday, not surprisingly.
Yeah.
My number 1 game, Monster Hunter World, 216 hours.
Jeez.
50 hours without Logan. I think I spent that mostly capturing endemic life. That was very rare for some reason I did that. Number 2, Minecraft at 131 hours.
Dang, you dropped a ton. I guess you were playing that a lot last year.
When I bought it, like at the beginning of the summer, I just sank so much time. It was like the only thing I was playing,
Yeah.
which was mostly exclusively multiplayer. And then coming in at number 3, Fall Guys with 83 hours, which I've played mostly entirely with Logan. So that's good. He had like 90 some hours on it.
95, yeah.
95. And yep, top genre RPG.
Yep.
331 RPG hours. 522 trophies.
Jeez.
3 platinums. 30 golds. 102 silvers. 387 bronzes.
Nice.
Man, you're on the ball
That-
this year.
This year is not gonna be. I don't think.
This is the year that you crack 2K.
Oh my god, if I do it.
Yeah.
Right,
Kevin,
yes.
pull up your games beat last year list and tell us what you platinumed.
Oh,
Yes, and
that's
while
true. I
he's
have
doing
the
that,
list.
Logan and I can talk about what we've been playing.
Oh, of course that's
Oh,
what it is.
oh.
Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated.
Oh, duh.
Because that was
Yeah.
so easy.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Easy for you, not for me.
Well, yeah, when the
Yeah,
game just tells you
unfortunately.
no.
Yep. It's like you can't.
Yeah.
I would have had 4 platinums because I decided to right before I realized it was literally impossible.
Yeah, there's my
So that's
platinum.
fun.
Yeah.
Good
All
game.
right. Well, since Kevin found out, he can start with what he's been playing since it's not been a lot.
It has not been much, and I really don't have too much new stuff to say on it. Just been playing more Spiritfarer. Really haven't had much time, so I only sat down and played it for maybe another half hour to an hour. Just want to keep saying that game's gorgeous. I absolutely adore the art style of it. Like, man, it is just so relaxing. Yeah, that's really it. I just haven't had much time this week. Yeah.
Okay. And then for me, it's been a similar vein. Haven't had a chance to play a lot on my own. I mostly sunk some time into Final Fantasy IX. Still enjoying it quite a bit. That game has a lot of charm. The dialogue is still very good. Slowly collecting people to put into my party. I'm really enjoying where the plot's going. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's still got a lot of lightheartedness that I think the last 2 games before it kind of did away with. First, I'm in 7. I can't really speak to 8, but it seems like a more serious version of Final Fantasy. So it's nice to have some of this lighthearted, more traditional fantasy-esque genre for Final Fantasy 9. So definitely enjoying that. Looking forward to sinking some more time into it. Then other than that, Logan and I have had a chance to play some games together, which I think we'll start with. Fall Guys had its mid-season update.
Right,
Finally,
yeah.
feels like it's been on season 3 for a very long time. But this new update brings a lot in terms of round variations and one new map, which we got the chance to try out.
Is it good?
What did you think about it, Logan? Yeah.
Yeah, I like the new map. It's called Snowball Survival, and it
You have not
is-
survived.
I have not. I have not qualified through this round yet. I think I've only done it twice, and I've gotten knocked out both times. And you're in this giant bowl, and the bowl has the hexes like from Hexagon. Actually, it's the ice from Thin Ice, but only part of the ground is the ice, and the other doesn't fall. And there's just these 2 giant snowballs rolling around that can either knock you out of the ball or knock you through the ground where the ice cracks. And you just have to survive for I think 2 minutes is how long the round lasts, and just everyone left at the end of it moves on. And yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see a round with the hexes. That's not a finale. It's some nice variation, but yeah, good to get a new game in the mix.
Yeah, and having those updated level variations also keeps things fresh. I love how they keep finding ways to do that and introducing the option to choose between shows. So if you want solely the new variations, you're able to do that, or have a mixture of both the original and the new variations. That's an option too. So nice to see that, and some quality of life improvements where there's actually a list of people who qualify on the right-hand side of the screen. Your teammates highlighted in a different color. So very easy to tell if your team qualifies. Just some little stuff like that. You know, they're really listening to the community. They did that survey a while back. They listened to Logan and changed the picture for roll off, which was just the same
as the
picture
one for
as
roll
rolled out.
Yeah,
which
is the
apparently
same as
bugged
the
him a
game
lot more than
rolled
it bugged me.
out.
which
Yes,
is
exactly.
still not out.
That game has not rolled out.
I really
Nice.
like it's called the fall feed when people qualify. I really like that. It's fun to follow. We had some really fun times where we got the same guy 2 times in a row who beat Zach at the end. He murdered Zach for the win, and then he murdered Zach again on Slime Climb in the next round.
He had no idea. He probably had no idea
Yeah.
who I was.
Yeah, it's
He was just a
funny
vicious murderer.
when you play enough in one session, I think it's also kind of sad because it shows not as many people are playing anymore. You get thrown in with a lot of the same people sometimes, and it's fun to kind of be like, oh, hey, that guy's back. And that's kind of added
Ruined me
a
last
new
time.
element to it. Yeah, so it's been fun.
Yep. So we had some fun playing that, tried it out. Sonic's supposed to reappear in the store for
some
Fall
point.
Guys.
Yeah.
The Sonic costume, which I wasn't able to get, so I'm on the lookout for that.
How much was it last time?
It was 10 crowns.
Oh,
5 crowns a piece
okay.
for the top and bottom.
You've been saving,
Hopefully
right,
it's
Zach?
cheaper this time.
Yeah, he has.
I've got like 16 at the moment, so
Yeah.
I assume unless they up the price, which would be a jerk move.
that would suck.
You never know.
Yeah.
10 crowns a piece, still can't get it.
Sorry, Zach.
All right. And then other than that, Logan and I have been playing. We had a couple decently sized sessions of Divinity Original Sin 2, which is something we've been trudging through. The beginning of that game is very difficult when you don't have experience with it. It is a bit of a trudge because you do die a lot and it's stressful. We had to do some, but is it save scumming is what you call it?
Yeah.
The quick save feature is the best friend in that game. So we've been using it quite a bit. I think we've definitely found our footing in that game where our characters are progressing. We're figuring out the battling system a lot more.
I figured out that the buckets that I was wearing on both of my characters' heads slow down your character by like half.
Oh my
God.
God.
I was going last in every round. I'm like, why are my characters so slow? And then I removed the buckets. And like, that was life-changing.
Yes.
Oh my God.
There is a lot to keep track of. It is very tabletop RPG.
It's fun. I'm
not surprised that some of those things, fall through the cracks and you don't notice them, but it's definitely, you can tell it's designed to be a PC game. The interface is a little janky at times on console, but there's shortcuts for everything. You just got to get used to it, which I think we slowly are. Making our way through the story, trying to do as much as possible. Having a pretty good time. I like it a lot. Really scratches that RPG need. It's an amazing RPG overall.
I think
it's very well crafted.
Our last time playing was a big breakthrough session. I feel like we were really figuring it out and winning fights and intentionally doing things instead of just kind of fumbling around. So I think it was a big breakthrough.
The thing about that is that we played one time and Logan and I were like, we got to watch a bunch of videos just to understand this game. So I watched a bunch of videos and Logan watched 0 videos. So I had to sit there and explain everything to Logan about how this game works.
It was clutch.
Yes. Zach pulling the slack here.
Just fine. Yep. But that is basically what we've been playing together this week. Logan, have you played anything other than Hitman or anything we've already talked about? Anything that's
been playing more Smash
been
Brothers.
covered?
I feel like I fell off that game pretty hard when the pandemic hit because I like playing that game locally with friends, and I've really just been missing it. So I've been hopping into online matches against people, and it's been really fun to get back into. Playing with the DLC characters, I really didn't play that much of Sephiroth, Steve, Min. So yeah, it's been a good time.
Nice.
Best game ever.
Have you found a new favorite, or are you still maining a certain character? Who's your main?
I'm kind of fine. My main was Hero, and I think it still is, but Banjo. I am falling in love with how Banjo and Kazooie play again, and I won an online tournament last night as Banjo and Kazooie, which was really fun.
Nice. Yeah. That it?
Yep, that's it.
So I think that's all we've been playing. Time to move on, Kevin.
Yeah, let's hop into the O2 segment. This is in honor of both Hitman and the Mass Effect trilogy that's going to be coming out in just a couple of months. For Hitman, Logan playing it for the first time. I know Zach's been curious about getting into it. And Mass Effect, if any of us pick it up, would be a first for all of us into that series. So we thought we'd pick some series that we have not touched whatsoever. No introduction at all to actually playing any of these games that we'd be interested in trying out. That's how I created my list.
Logan messed up.
I have some.
That's how I created mine too.
You played less than an hour.
A series I've never finished a game in.
Mine was nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can come up with some new ones. We'll see.
Well, here we go. Zach, I'm going to throw it to you first. Why don't you run through your list and give a quick statement? Yeah, give a quick statement on each of these series and why you want to check them out.
Yeah. So, obvious one to start, Mass Effect. We already talked about it on the show. Always been on my radar. Looks super fun. The different, playing as Captain Shepard and romancing all these exotic aliens. What's not to like? I don't know a whole lot about the series now that I think about it. It's just always piqued my interest and looked pretty good. And I've always had it in my mind as an Xbox series, which is, I don't know, kind of steered me away from it in my earlier years. But, now that the collection's out,
we're coming out.
Very accessible to pick up. Yep.
Yeah.
They're coming out. Yep. And then moving on, something that Logan has been pushing at me for a very long time. Kevin has actually played the series. It's Phoenix Wright.
Yeah. Get on it.
Yeah. Okay. I had this thing, which is something I do a lot, but it would go on sale and I'd be like, sweet, I'll pick it up. And then it would go off sale. And I was like, well, now I have to wait for it to go back on sale. And that was just a rinse and repeat cycle.
It was on sale recently.
Please,
I think Capcom had a sale last month where it was like 15 or whatever.
I eventually just stopped looking. I knew it wasn't going to happen.
All right. Well, me and Logan will both send you messages when we notice that it's on sale.
Okay, just a live update of the
I think
Phoenix
I'm going
Wright
to start
sale.
sending Zach a link to 3D All-Stars on Amazon every day.
You should. It was on sale for
Until I
$50
buy
recently.
I want to. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. I will play Phoenix Wright at some point. It looks interesting.
It's fun.
It's Logan's favorite series of all time, maybe. Okay.
It's part of the big four.
Enough. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in it. And moving on, now that I've started the whole Castlevania thing, I'm like, maybe Metroidvanias are my thing. So Metroid I put on my list. I've never played a Metroid. Logan and I are slotted to play Metroid Prime this year for
We are.
confusing reasons. We were just playing, I think, playing Fall Guys or something. He was like, just pick a number of, because he has amiibos on his wall of every character in Smash. He's like, pick a number. We're going to play a game from that series of that. Well, I'm going to play a game from that character of that series. I picked a number. I think it was Dark Samus.
Yeah.
And then he was like, okay, I'll do the same thing. He got like Zero Suit Samus. So I'm like,
Wow, okay.
well,
Yeah,
let's
it
just
was
play a Metroid
wild.
together.
The odds were so low of that happening. And then it did.
And I was like, okay, so what's a good Metroid? He's like, Prime, I think.
Prime. Yeah,
So
people like it.
we're gonna play Prime together.
All right.
I'm excited to get into that. Something I've been seeing a lot of with the announcement of the new one is King of Fighters, a fighting series that has spanned many years. I think 15 is coming out, maybe 16. I'm not entirely sure. It looks
15?
very good.
Man, that's a lot of games.
King of Fighters 15 or 16 is coming out.
I guess maybe that happens when you don't have a series that has like 8 versions of one game, like Street Fighter's like 2.
Street Fighter,
It's
no,
like
yeah, there's
8 million versions.
34
of one.
Street Fighters if you add them all up, I
Yeah.
assume. Yes. King of Fighters going for a long time. Always been kind of interested in it since I am such, I've branched out a lot in terms of fighting video games, played a lot of different kinds, but this is a series that I've never really delved into. So I would like to try it out and see if it feels right for me. I know a lot of the OG ones or the older ones. There's collections and they all go on sale. So
So you won't
not
pick
that
them
hard
up.
to find.
If they go on sale,
probably
you're
never
not
gonna
picking
pick
them
it
up on those.
Or I might just try out the new one since it looks
Yeah.
pretty nice.
Yeah.
Full price since I can't buy anything on a sale. So looking forward to that. And then finally on my list, the last one I threw on was Half-Life. A very, very popular series of Half-Life, Half-Life 2, Half-Life Alyx, and I think Blue Shift or some
and Half-Life 2
sort of
episode 1 and Half-Life 2 episode 2.
yes, everything in the series I would like to at least try because it is such a cult favorite of a series that is still going. People thought it was dead, but now that it's still going, it inspires me more to hop on. People
It's funny with those that you can buy like 90% of that series for like $1 or $2, and then the last bit, Half-Life Alyx, will cost you like $1,000
Yeah.
with the headset and everything.
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, definitely Half-Life Alyx being VR is a bit of a turnoff, but first two apparently, well, at least two very good. I don't know how much
People like those games.
one was well received. I think people like it. But yeah, definitely something I've always wanted to check out. And like you said, I own them on Steam because they were like $1.
Yeah,
So
it's literal sense.
never too late to hop in. So that's exciting. And it's Valve. So
Yeah.
I like Valve.
Logan, you come up with anything new on this list while Zach
I
was
did.
going?
I expanded it greatly while
Okay.
Zach was talking.
All right.
So the ones that I have played too much of to include, I put Hitman because I'm getting more into that
Yeah.
as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
And then Metroid, I've played almost all of Super Metroid, but never finished it. And Yakuza, I've played 10 hours of Zero. So those are the ones I had, but I replaced them. Mass Effect, already talked about it. I'm going to pick up the trilogy and play it on my PS5. Very excited for that one. I watched my dad play some of Mass Effect 2 back in the day, and I thought it looked pretty cool. And one of my friends is super into Mass Effect. Like, it's one of those universes that just like lives in his head, and he is always talking about. So that I've always been intrigued because of that. I put Viva Pinata on here.
Yes.
I own that. I have a copy of that. I think I bought one, or Kevin bought it for me. We found it at a half price.
Oh
place.
yeah, I
got
think
it
I
for
did buy that
$3.
for you because it was like
Yeah.
really cheap.
Yeah, so why not? I have a 360. I mean, I could boot that up and play it. So Viva Pinata. And then I have Tomb Raider. I would really like to play the modern Tomb Raider trilogy. just because of the Uncharted parallels, and I've heard good things. And Zach recently discovered he doesn't hate them as much as he thought that he did. So those I'm looking
Good to
forward
know.
to get into.
I'm so inconsistent.
Speaking of BioWare, Knights of the Old Republic, I really want to play those games. I am holding out for a remake or remaster. I saw rumors recently that one might be happening. So that would be awesome. Love Star Wars sometimes, and those would be really good. Neo 1 and 2 catch my eye. Of all the Soulsborne games I've seen, the ones actually not made by FromSoft are the ones that kind of intrigue me the most. I think Neo 1 and 2 look really cool, and they just got a big remastered pack that's coming out very soon on PlayStation 5. With I think it's $70, but it's both games, all the DLC, and totally remastered to run on next gen consoles. So the Neo games plummet in price rapidly. So that one I'll probably pick up. Like that could be a Black Friday pickup this year, and I'll hopefully get into those. And then this one's cheating a little bit because I've probably played 20 minutes of the series in my life. But
that's all right.
I feel like Mega Man is a classic series that I could really get into. And I actually saw today that Capcom they always do this, but they're putting all the games on sale on Switch. So I might go drop $30 and pick up like the Legacy Collection, the X Collection, and the ZX Collection, and just see what grabs me.
Yeah, there's a lot of games there.
I'm surprised you haven't played Mega Man. I didn't even consider that you'd never. It seems like a series that you'd really like.
Platformers
I think
and stuff.
so. Yeah, difficult 2D platforming, but it's more about the combat than the platforming. From what I played, the platforming is like really weighty. Like Mega Man drops like a rock, and he's really kind of hard to wield in the NES ones. So maybe in some of the later ones that feels different. But I feel like that is a classic series that I could definitely love.
Yeah, I feel like that could be right up your alley.
Should have put F-Zero on my list. Invested.
I love F-Zero.
All right, as for me, Mafia. I've talked about those games for a while.
Nice.
I've been eyeing the remaster games that come out from the ground up remake of the original. They have the remaster of 2, which I heard was broken on launch, but I'm hoping it's been patched and runs better now. And then of course Mafia 3. Been eyeing that
which
trilogy.
Was also broken on launch.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah, Mafia 3, man, what a horrid launch that game had. I'm not as much interested in Mafia 3 as I am 1 and 2. From what I've heard, definitively Mafia 1 and 2 are the best games in the series. But I really like playing through GTA games. I love the Saints Row games. I think the setting of Mafia is really cool in like the 1920s, and then I think moving up into the 1940s is just a really cool setting and atmosphere. And even the 60s in Mafia 3 seems interesting. And I've heard that the stories are really good. So that's one that I could see myself playing sometime this year when that trilogy goes on sale. Been eyeing it a lot. Mass Effect, same as you guys. Have been eyeing them for a while. I've heard good things. And now that the trilogy is on its way out, now is the perfect time to hop in. After that, Tomb Raider, same reason as Logan, the Uncharted parallels, and the fact that Zach seems to like them is another good reason to get into those. And then last, just a random one, Professor Layton. I don't know. I've heard about Professor Layton games for years, and although I'm not super into puzzle games, I just keep hearing about Professor Layton for whatever reason. So it's one that piques my interest. And
I have played all 6. I don't know if you guys knew that. I played them all.
Yeah,
I remember you playing one of them.
I have not played them since high school, I don't think. And
why do I remember you playing one of them?
I would probably picked up the crossover with Phoenix Wright recently.
That sounds right.
Yeah, which I've never finished because I think it's awful. But the Layton games are good. They are very puzzle focused, so if you don't like the puzzles, like they come up a lot. It's like, we can't get through this door, solve a puzzle. We need to talk to this person, solve a puzzle. Like, they are everywhere.
Yeah.
I think the puzzles are really good though. And the stories are also good, but nowhere near Ace Attorney level. And I think that I can't help but compare them. So I've just never liked that series as much, but I think they're good. Like they're a fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all 6 are pretty good. 5 and 6 get a little easy. The 3DS ones are not as good as the DS ones, 1 through 4. But yeah, I think you'd probably like them.
Yeah, so just one that's piqued my interest. And yeah, that's about it for me. Out of all of the games on your list, what is besides Mass Effect? Besides Mass Effect, because I feel like that there's a very good chance that we're going to play that. What is the other game that you would pick as the one that's most likely for you to play this year? Mine's Mafia.
I might go buy Mega Man right now.
Mega Man?
Like,
Okay. Yeah. Zach?
Well, since Logan and I are dedicated ourselves to playing Metroid Prime, probably that one, but I am very interested in the new King of Fighters.
Okay. So let's revisit these lists at the end of the year and see if we actually played these. If we played any of these.
Did we ever set the
We'll see.
game goals for games we're going to beat this year? We did that, right?
Yeah. We did
Okay,
game goals.
I forgot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did.
Or did we?
I'm
Did I
pretty
have
sure we
any?
did.
Down
I
to
remember doing
0.
game goals.
Online.
I remember
Yeah.
doing it.
Okay.
We can check. If you hear next week we're talking about game goals, we didn't do it.
We did not do
yeah,
it.
I think we did it, but
I think we did too.
yeah. All right, I think we're running a little bit long. Final thoughts before we wrap this
I
thing
have
up.
a final thought.
Okay, what is it?
Zach and I played the Balan Wonderworld demo.
Oh,
Oh,
God,
I was gonna
I-
ask you
my
what that was
God.
called. I forgot about that.
I have heard
It made
nothing
me
but
so motion sick.
horrible things.
Yeah, motion sickness, horrible slippery controls, PS2 era character models. It is awful. It's so bad. I
Hated
can't
every moment
believe
of it.
How much I hated it. Like, I'm surprised. I saw a tweet that I think really summed it up. This is what non-Sonic fans feel like playing Sonic games. I was like, that hits a little, but I get it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was bad.
Seeing just the
Not a good time.
the controller mapping for it and just everything is jump. I'm like, what is this?
Every
Like,
button does the same thing. Yeah,
What? Yeah.
it's terrible.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, that game looks really bad. And it all when they first showed it off, it already looked bad. But it was like at that point you were kind of hoping that they would fix things up a little bit before it
Yeah.
came out, but now you see the demo, it's like that did not happen. It's still terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sucks that that game's going to be bad. Zach, any final thoughts about Balan Wonderland?
I did not enjoy it. Well, Overworld, the first Overworld before the first level looked really nice. Before it did that weird curvy ground thing that made me sick. I was very confused when every button was jump, which Logan was like, press X. Okay, now press circle. Okay, now press triangle. He's
They all-
trying to ease me into it.
Yeah, very complex. Yeah.
So I would not recommend. And if we do that thing for our lists where we have only played a little bit of the series, I would throw Resident Evil and Castlevania on my list because I think I'm definitely going to get more into those series this year. But looking forward to cracking that 2,000 hours. Definitely the goal.
Big goals for 2021. 1,000 of those hours will be Balan Wonderland.
Can't even imagine.
All right, that is going to do it for us on this week's episode of Ode to Games. We're here on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, other podcast streaming services that you use. As always, the video version of the podcast is also up every week on our YouTube page, Ode to Games. So if you want to find the video version of the podcast, it's over there. You can find us on Twitter at Ode to Games. You can find us on Twitch, Ode to Games as well. You can send an email to odegamescast@gmail.com. For Logan and Zach, I'm Kevin. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week.